A creature smaller than your thumbnail can pull more than 1,000 times its own body weight. If you could do the same, you'd be dragging 6 loaded school buses down the street without breaking a sweat. And the strangest part, it doesn't even use this power to fight, it uses it to steal. Somewhere in the grasslands of Africa, under the cover of darkness, a small, armored insect is doing something that should be physically impossible. It has found a mound of dung left behind by an elephant, and it wants all of it. Not a piece, all of it. So it starts rolling, a ball many times its own size, pushed backward upside down, legs braced against the ground like a tiny bodybuilder mid-deadlift. This is the dung beetle, and pound for pound, it is the strongest animal ever measured on Earth. Stronger than an elephant, stronger than an ox, stronger relative to its size than anything humans have built a machine to match. But here's the real mystery. Why would evolution build something this strong for dung? To understand that, we have to go back to the moment scientists first tried to measure it. In 2010, researchers at Queen Mary University of London wanted to know exactly how strong these insects were. So they attached tiny weights to male Onthophagus taurus beetles, a species commonly known as the taurus scarab, and recorded how much they could pull before giving up. The results stunned them. Some individuals pulled over 1,140 times their own body weight. For comparison, a human would need to move roughly 6 double-decker buses to match that ratio. At first, it looked like a fluke, a single overachiever, but when the researchers repeated it again and again, the pattern held. This wasn't luck, this was a design. So the next question became obvious. Why does a creature that eats waste need the strength of a superhero? The answer isn't about food, it's about war. Dung beetles don't just compete with other species for dung. They compete with each other inside narrow underground tunnels where the loser doesn't just go hungry. The loser may never reproduce at all. Some male dung beetles grow horns, long, curved weapons used to block tunnel entrances and physically shove rivals away from a female. And when 2 males meet underground, it isn't a contest of size. It's a contest of raw pulling and pushing force played out in total darkness, where the strongest beetle blocks the tunnel and the weaker one is dragged out, defeated, before it ever gets the chance to mate. In other words, this strength didn't evolve for digging, it evolved for love. And that changes everything about how we see this insect. Because now that same motion, the pushing, the pulling, the bracing against solid ground, isn't just impressive. It's desperate, it's personal. It's a creature fighting in the most literal sense for its future. But the dung beetle isn't alone in this story. Once scientists started asking, who is strongest relative to size? They found something even stranger hiding in plain sight, at a scale so small most of us have never even considered it. In the ocean, drifting through nearly invisible currents, live tiny crustaceans called copepods. Most are barely a millimeter long. You could lose one on the tip of a pencil. And yet, in 2011, a study published in the Journal of the Royal Society Interface recorded copepods generating some of the fastest, most explosive accelerations ever measured in the animal kingdom. Forces so extreme they briefly rival what fighter jet pilots experience. Why would something the size of a grain of rice need force like that? Survival, nothing more, nothing less. A copepod's entire life is spent being hunted. Fish larvae, jellyfish, other predators, all constantly scanning the water for a meal barely visible to the naked eye. So evolution gave the copepod something almost unfair, the ability to disappear in a fraction of a second, not by hiding, by launching itself away faster than most predators can react. It's not strength used to dominate, it's strength used to escape. And that's where this story starts to reveal something deeper. Because in nature, extreme physical power almost never evolves for show. It evolves because something, somewhere, was a matter of life and death. For the dung beetle, it was competition underground. For the copepod, it was survival in open water. And for ants, one of the most studied, strong animals on the planet, it comes down to something even more surprising, physics working in their favor. Ants are famous for carrying objects many times their own body weight, sometimes 50 times, occasionally more. It's one of the most repeated animal facts on the internet. But researchers studying ant biomechanics found the real explanation isn't raw muscle power alone. It's proportion. As an animal shrinks, its muscles shrink in cross-sectional area, but its body weight shrinks even faster. Smaller creatures end up with far more strength per gram of body mass than larger animals do. It's a mathematical rule of biology, sometimes called the square cube law. An elephant could never lift 50 times its own weight. Its own body mass would crush its legs under the attempt. But an ant, built at a completely different scale, gets a strength advantage that increases the smaller it becomes. In other words, the tiniest animals on Earth aren't breaking the rules of physics. They're the only ones small enough to benefit from them. And once you understand that, something shifts in how you see the world around you. That ant carrying a leaf across the sidewalk isn't just strong for its size as a fun fact. It's operating in a completely different physical universe than we are, one where its own body weight barely matters, where forces we could never survive are just an average Tuesday. The dung beetle underground, straining against a rival in total darkness, isn't performing for anyone. It's fighting the only fight that has ever mattered to its species, the right to pass its genes forward. And the copepod, flicking itself away from a shadow in the water in less time than you can blink, isn't showing off. It's surviving one explosive escape at a time, thousands of times over a short, fragile life. None of these animals know they're remarkable. None of them are trying to impress anyone. They're simply doing what millions of years of pressure, competition, and survival built them to do. Which raises a quiet, uncomfortable question. If the strongest creature on Earth is invisible to the naked eye, doing something as unglamorous as moving dung or fleeing a predator, how much of what we call greatness is really about scale? And how much of it have we simply never noticed because it was too small, too fast, or too far beneath our feet to see? Maybe strength was never about size at all. Maybe it was about what a creature is willing to risk everything for. The elephant may be massive, the ant may be small, but scale is just a number. What matters is what an animal is built to survive. And somewhere, right now, underground, underwater, or beneath a leaf on the sidewalk, the strongest animal on Earth is doing something extraordinary. And no one is watching. Except now you,